In the depths of the Cold War, espionage wasn't always conducted in dark alleys or behind closed doors, it was also waged beneath the sea. One of the most audacious intelligence operations in U.S. history took place hundreds of feet below the surface of the Sea of Okhotsk, where American divers tapped directly into the Soviet Union's underwater communication cables. The mission was called Operation Ivy Bells. In the early 1970s, U.S. intelligence analysts confirmed a remarkable opportunity. The Soviet military was using undersea telephone cables to coordinate between naval bases and military outposts in the Russian Far East. These lines, believed by Moscow to be physically untouchable by foreign powers, were unencrypted. They carried unguarded conversations between admirals, commanders, and officials. Strategic plans, deployment orders, and confidential discussions transmitted across miles of seafloor. The CIA, in collaboration with the U.S. Navy and National Security Agency, launched a top-secret plan to intercept the communications. Their target was a specific cable that ran between the Soviet naval base at Petropavlovsk on the Kamchatka Peninsula and a Pacific Fleet Command Center. To reach it, a specialized American submarine, the USS Halibut, was sent into Soviet-controlled waters. The Halibut was no ordinary vessel, originally designed to launch nuclear missiles. It had been heavily modified for deep-sea espionage, equipped with diver lockout chambers, robotic arms, and advanced sonar to locate objects on the seafloor. Once in position, divers exited the submarine and searched for the cable, buried beneath silt and shielded by icy currents. When they found it, they attached a wiretap device, referred to as a pod, that could record conversations passing through the line without interrupting or disturbing the signal. It was an extraordinary piece of technology developed by the NSA. The tap recorded audio onto magnetic tape and stored it until it could be retrieved during future missions. The Soviets were none the wiser. The cable worked as usual, and the US began harvesting priceless intelligence. Submarines like the Halibut and later the USS Parchi returned regularly to recover the recordings and replace the pod. For nearly a decade, the U.S. listened in on candid Soviet naval discussions, learning about submarine movements, fleet exercises, and strategic planning. It was a silent goldmine of real-time intelligence, gathered without firing a shot or crossing a wire. The success of Operation Ivy Bells gave American analysts a rare window into the inner workings of the Soviet Navy. In some cases, the intelligence even shaped U.S. naval strategy. During tense moments in the Cold War, those recordings helped Washington anticipate Soviet reactions and deployments, giving the U.S. a vital edge. The Soviets remained oblivious, relying on the physical inaccessibility of the Sea of Okhotsk to protect their communications. But in 1980, the operation was compromised in the most damaging way possible, not by a technical error or a Soviet countermeasure, but by betrayal from within. Ronald Pelton, a former NSA signals analyst who had left the agency in financial trouble, walked into the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C., and offered his knowledge in exchange for money. He had no documents, he had no hardware, but he had worked directly with intelligence from Operation Ivy Bells, and he remembered enough to destroy it. For $35,000, the KGB learned about the underwater cable, the wiretap, and the American submarines accessing it. The Soviets launched their own secret mission and recovered the pod from the ocean floor. Just like that, the operation was over. What had been one of the CIA's greatest intelligence coups was undone. Pelton was eventually caught in 1985, after a Soviet defector tipped off the FBI. He was arrested, tried, and convicted of espionage. He received 3 life sentences plus 10 years, but the damage was done. The Soviets knew the extent of the breach, and they changed their communication methods permanently. Though it ended in betrayal, Operation Ivy Bells remains a remarkable testament to Cold War ingenuity. American divers had quietly invaded Soviet territory, tapped their most trusted lines, and stolen their secrets for nearly a decade. It was a victory of engineering, secrecy, and nerve. In the history of espionage, few missions have reached so far or gone so deep, literally and figuratively. Operation Ivy Bells showed that in the world of intelligence there are no truly safe spaces, not even on the ocean floor.